Go Jackets.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Rec Talk. We got a few things that we need to discuss today. So, first, we're going to talk about we've hired an offensive line coach. We're going to talk about the newest updates in the transfer portal, what's happening with recruiting. So, if you haven't seen, Georgia Tech has made their first offensive staff hire in offensive line coach Jeep Wade. Now, Jeep Wade is coming from App State. App State had an interesting season, started off really hot. They almost beat North Carolina in this crazy comeback victory. They scored like 40, 50 points. North Carolina had to score 50 points to beat them. Then they go on the road, beat Texas A&M on the road when they were ranked 6th in the country. Now, it turns out that Texas A&M wasn't, I'm not going to say they're not good. They weren't near as good as people thought in the preseason. So, what do we know about Jeep Wade? Well, first, let's look at how App State's offense looked this year. They averaged 34.9 points per game this year. Now, that's a top 25 offense. That was good enough for 24th in the country in points per game or scoring efficiency, however you want to look at it. They weren't the best team through the air. They averaged about 250 yards per game through the air. That's good enough for about 50th in the country, but they were a very good run team. They averaged this season about 204 yards per game on the ground. That's good enough for 22nd in the country, another top 25 stat for App State. And you would have to think that your offensive line coach has a lot to do with your run game in particular. Now, this is Jeep Wade's first year as App State's offensive line coach. Since taking over, though, he's cut the number of sacks that they took from last season, from the 2021 season to this season. He's halved it. So that's good enough for 34th in the country as far as number of sacks. Something we like to see, right? So it seems like a good hire to me, right? This guy's taken over, cut the number of sacks they've taken in half. He's been very effective at the run game, and though they're not the greatest passing team, that's not solely on the offensive line coach. It might not have been the offensive direction. They were very good on the run game. So they averaged 5.2 yards per carry this year on the ground. Another impressive stat. Now, the criticism for Jeep Wade is this is a guy that bounces around schools a lot. I think since he was at Eastern Carolina, and we'll look into the schools he's been to, he's a one and done everywhere he goes. So he's been at Georgia Southern, Eastern Carolina. I think he was there for 2 or 3 seasons. Middle Tennessee State, Marshall. He does not have Power 5 coaching experience. So other critics will say, well, you have this much larger pool of money with which to hire a staff for Key. Why didn't we hire the offensive line coach out of Ole Miss? I believe he was just hired at Auburn now. Why did you not go get a bigger name, offensive line coach? And to me, I think the reason that could be is it gets into our offensive coordinator hire. Kevin Barbay, his name is being floated around at several schools. I know, in particular, South Carolina is looking for a new offensive coordinator. Barbay, I would think, is certainly on that list, or anyone else that is looking for an offensive coordinator hire. So it could be, right? Because I thought, well, we would probably hire an offensive coordinator before we started filling in these individual position coaches. But it might make sense if you're going to hire their offensive coordinator anyways. Obviously, they mesh well. They had a particularly good offense last year. Now, they did go 6-6, but their losses were to James Madison, who's a good team, Coastal Carolina. They lost to Marshall, had a bad loss to Texas State, and they lost to Georgia Southern in double overtime in the last game of the year. I think this. I don't have any problem with this hire. Again, the only problem I could have with this hire is that he leaves us next season. But I'm definitely okay with it. So tell me what you think. What do you think of the hire? I'll leave it in the comments. Moving on. So with that being said, let's talk about the channel for a second. Some news. First of all, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel. It's a great channel. Follow us on Twitter, and you probably hear that in the background. This is the Rec Talk Discord. This is where you're going to get everything you want to know about the channel, what's going on, etc. Join it. Also, huge news. If you did not see the live stream Cdogg and I did this week, I think it was 2 days ago, go watch that. And so many people seem to like that. We are going to do a show on Sundays, probably every other week in the off season, and we're going to kick that off on the 12th. So if you're a Georgia Tech football fan, you've got to watch that show. You got to watch that show. Also, you might have noticed the Feliz Bobby Dodd sweatshirt I have on. I actually reached out to Section 103. They did not have my size. However, they said they run large, and they sent your boy Rec Talk. They told me to wear it on the show. Now, I'm not sponsored by Section 103. I'm a nobody. I don't have any sponsors. So you know I'm telling you the truth when I say that's where you want to go to get your tech apparel. Oh, I flipped my note card over. Also, if you want to support the channel, I haven't said this before, we have a PayPal now. Everything that you donate will go back to the channel. We have just invested, again, I keep saying I have invested in some lighting equipment, some other things to make the show better. So everything you give is going to be to make the show better. But look, if no one ever gives anything, we're still going to come out with videos because I'm that passionate about Georgia Tech football. Okay, transfer portal. So let's talk about the kids we already know that have hit the portal from Georgia Tech. We've had Tyson Pumachan. Thank you, Cdogg, for telling me how to pronounce that. I didn't know, actually, until I watched Cdogg's videos. He was our basically fourth-string situational quarterback. And we were really able to get the most out of him. He didn't really throw. He threw a few times through a pick, and we kind of didn't let him throw the ball again. But scored in the opening drive against Georgia. I don't know. They were covering receivers and whatnot on that drive. I don't know why. Like, there was zero possibility Pumachan was ever going to throw that football in that situation. But he transfers. Now, he transferred to Tech from Clemson, so he's going to have to sit out a year. He's already burned that transfer without penalty. So, best of luck to him. I think he came to Tech with the intentions of he was going to be the guy, especially with Sims gone and having a true freshman basically start over you. I would expect him to transfer even possibly down to maybe the FBS level. Nate McCollum, that one hurts. We knew Nate McCollum. Well, there was a lot of people who didn't really know for sure. He is officially 100% in the portal now. That hurts, though. He was our best wide receiver, extremely productive, extremely athletic. Now, once you enter the portal, you don't necessarily have to transfer. Possibly we can call that back. If I was a betting man, we probably end up losing Nate McCollum, though. RJ Adams was I believe he's an offensive tackle for us. Didn't see much playing time. He actually is going to Memphis now, but we already talked about him transferring out. Ryan King, wide receiver. Now, I would really like to see him stay. We're losing Jenkins, E.J. Jenkins, Malachi Carter, seniors graduating this year. With Nate McCullum most likely leaving, I would really not like to lose any more of our depth at wide receiver. So hopefully we can keep Ryan King. Jeff Sims, 0% chance. He doesn't come back. Now, he is taking an official visit to Nebraska. Now, why is this a little juicy? Well, Matt Rule has taken the head coaching job at Nebraska, and when he left to go to the NFL, basically when he was at Temple, Jeff Collins, the minister of mayhem, I think that means something different to most than it does to Jeff, by the way. If you hire him as head coach, he will be a minister of mayhem in your program. But it wouldn't surprise me if Jeff Collins goes to become, maybe co-defensive coordinator at Nebraska or a positions coach. I think his specialty is linebackers. That's what he played in college. He's retweeting like every person that hits the portal from Georgia Tech. He's retweeting, especially Jeff Sims. So Jeff Sims taking an official visit to Nebraska wouldn't surprise me if he ends up there, particularly if Jeff Collins ends up there. Now Jeff Collins' name is, I also have seen his name thrown around in the Arkansas defensive coordinator pool. I hope that he gets a job somewhere. My understanding is it reduces your buyout somewhat. You have to give that guy. So hopefully he gets paid buku dollars to go coach anywhere else but Georgia Tech. And Demetrius Knight. Demetrius Knight, I actually think, was recruited by Paul Johnson, or he might have been in the class after Paul Johnson. He actually came in to play. He was switched to play quarterback. That didn't work out. I haven't heard his name in 2 years or so. So he's transferring out. Not a big loss. The big losses are really Sims, which I know a lot of people don't agree with. Sims, I think, will end up being a good quarterback somewhere. Nate McCullum, those two hurt, in my opinion. Now, portal guys from Tech that we haven't talked about. Derek Allen. Derek Allen's a defensive back for us. I believe got a good bit of playing time last year, the year before, but lost his job out to Brooks. He's backed up Brooks. The last depth chart, he was the backup to Brooks. He transferred actually from Notre Dame. He's been at Tech, been at the Flats for 3 years now. Wasn't able to win the job. I'm sure he's looking to go somewhere where he's going to be the guy. I think he's from Lassiter High School, so he's a local guy. But again, best of luck to him wherever he goes. And Viapulu, he's a lineman for us, I believe, right guard. He was in a backup role. Well, is he right guard? He's a lineman somewhere. And that tells you everything you need to probably know about, I guess how much it hurts to lose him. I don't remember seeing his name a whole lot. I do know that he played, but was not a starter anywhere. Now, with that is everyone in the portal that has left from Tech. Now, we did pick up today, I believe, a tight end transfer from the University of South Florida. Jackson Long, he's a tight end, 6'4". He's listed anywhere from basically 215 to 225. Might need to beef him up a little bit. I couldn't find any film on him. I wanted to, show it on the channel. I don't think he got much playing time at South Florida. The connection to this kid and Tech is actually interesting. I'm trying to think if I read this on Sports Illustrated or AJ Thing. I think it was Sports Illustrated. His dad was the center and roommate of Chris Winkie at Florida State. So when Winkie saw that he had entered the portal, he gave him a call to make sure, are you the kid I think you are? We've seen film on you, even though I can't find any. And we want to, we want you at Tech. He's committed 100% coming to the Flats. So I don't know what to think about that. He was I think a kind of lower to mid 3-star recruit. I think he was on 247. He's like an 84. I just can't find enough on the kid to really draw any sort of conclusion. South Florida wasn't that great of a team last year, and he wasn't getting the playing field. He wasn't getting playing time. That's probably not great. But he is an underclassman. He still has 4 years of eligibility left. Who knows? Who knows what he might do at Tech. Hopefully he'll be fantastic. We'll see. Now, on the recruiting front, and since, Key has kind of said he's kind of interested from building from within, that's what he kind of alluded to in his press conference. What's going on the recruiting trail? Now, we have locked up some recruits, that have retained their commitment, but we've lost two. We lost the cornerback from IMG Academy, Jarvis Lee. Now, we did offer their running back, who's kind of a mid to upper 3-star kid, so it might not be great as far as getting the running back from IMG with losing Jarvis Lee, but he decommits from Tech, and linebacker Elijah Douglas has decommitted from Tech. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Are we hiring this offensive line coach with the intention of offering or trying to hire Barclay from App State, their offensive coordinator? Word on the street is that, Key is eyeing one guy in particular. Don't know who it is. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's someone else. We'll see. But by God, we need to get this offensive coordinator hire under wraps and hit the recruiting trail with them. That being said, this guy that we've hired as offensive line coach, I don't know, his name's slipping me, Jeep Wade. I've never seen that first name before. Anyways, evidently he's already hitting the recruiting trail and getting to work. So those are all good things to see. So, again, hope you liked the video. If you're not subscribed, and we're going to keep getting videos out. As soon as news comes out, I'm doing my best to get a video out so we can talk about it. And watch out for that live show with Cdogg. I'll talk to you guys later.